So today marks the 1 month anniversary of the decision to declare a state of emergency within the town of East Hampton due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Since mid-February, I've been closely monitoring projections and news stories and public health advisories about the spread of COVID-19. And on February 27th, issued the first press release to the people of East Hampton, outlining practices recommended by the Federal Centers of Disease Control to avoid infection and help stop the spread of this virus. Since then, we all know that COVID-19 has become a full-blown pandemic and profoundly affected all of us in East Hampton, as well as populations worldwide. Following is a summary of some of the actions that we've taken over the past 4 weeks in order to protect the public health of our residents and to provide for their safety, to prepare for and meet the challenges that this epidemic has caused, provide important information to the public, and keep key functions of the government operating. This is by no means a complete list. The trajectory of the town's coronavirus response can also be tracked through the public information posts placed on the town's website. We've coordinated planning and implementation of the town's public health emergency response with East Hampton Town Police Chief Michael Sarlo and Bruce Bates, the town's emergency preparedness coordinator. Convened a meeting of the East Hampton Town and East Hampton Village elected officials, police department, fire department, emergency preparedness officials to discuss local planning for the response to the emerging pandemic. Closed the East Hampton Senior Center to protect our most vulnerable populations and instituted revised programs so as to continue to meet the needs of seniors and other members of the community in need. Enacted enhanced cleaning and disinfection procedures for town buildings, installed hand sanitizer stations, and ordered UV sterilization units. Implemented the town's pandemic response plan. Declared a state of emergency in East Hampton on March 13th before the national state of emergency regarding COVID-19. Instructed the East Hampton YMCA Rec Center, a large, well-used indoor gym and community center, to close on March 13th. Initiated discussion with Friends of Erin, resulting in a reversal of the plan to hold the St. Patrick's Day Parade on March 22nd. And I want to thank the Friends of Erin for their foresight and adjusting to this. Clearly, holding that parade would have caused a much greater spread of the disease within our community and those surrounding communities. We closed public offices and buildings to the public, installed drop boxes for documents to drop off to departments so that key business could continue. We've instituted unified incident command, emergency operations organizational structure, formalizing the emergency response command center at the supervisor's office with Chief Sarlo and emergency preparedness coordinator Bruce Bates. I've conferenced with the fire commissioners and first responders, identified and designated the town's essential departments and essential tasks that had to continue to protect public safety and serve the public. Instituted work from home protocols as possible and other safety and health procedures. Extended the expiration dates of all town permits that are currently in effect, so that if you have a dump permit or clam permit or whatever it might be, permits issued by the town, they remain valid until further notice. We established communication with all health care providers in the locality, as well as all food store operators. I designated Councilwoman Kathy Burke-Gonzalez and Councilman David Lease, respectively, as operations coordinators for human services and public works, sanitation, buildings and grounds, parks and recreation. Deputy Supervisor Sylvia Overby and Councilman Jeff Bragman as liaisons to continued reduced workings of other town departments. Appointed Deputy Supervisor Overby as the town board's liaison to the business community to help oversee the town's response and future plans regarding economic impact of the pandemic and to help us prepare for the recovery. Implemented new work protocols for both essential and non-essential departments, made changes to reduce staffing levels to protect town workers, developed and distributed new policy information to employees, including sick time, family leave benefits provided under new state and federal policies, and CDC and EEOC recommended policies regarding possible COVID-19 exposed workers and return to work policies. Work with the town finance department to track public health emergency costs to the town for possible future federal reimbursement from FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. We've continually disseminated information to the public through press releases, townwide website, the Facebook, robocalls, and personal appearances and messages by myself on local and regional radio stations, LTV and News 12. Distributed key information from federal and county sources to residents regarding health protection and resources, town functions, executive orders by New York State Governor Cuomo, information for businesses, including state designations of essential and non-essential businesses, business loans and protection, unemployment benefits, etc. Tracked the number of confirmed positive cases in East Hampton town and provided daily updates on those numbers. Today, those numbers are 99 confirmed cases within the town of East Hampton, and island-wide, well over 20,000. We've distributed key information from federal and county sources to residents regarding health protection and resources, town functions, executive orders by New York State Governor Cuomo, information for businesses, including state designation of essential and non-essential businesses, business loans and protection, unemployment benefits, etc. Engaged translator to enable information to be distributed in Spanish and coordinated with OLA of Eastern Long Island and Pastor Oswald Palomo of Vida Abundante Church to assist in messaging, including creation of video messages in Spanish. I've identified and implemented technology to allow the town board to hold virtual meetings and spoken directly with the public regarding coronavirus situations on various meetings lately. And I want to thank Councilman Lease for helping us with some of that interface with LTV and establishing these meetings. I've been responding to personal emails of concerned constituents and providing specific information about town actions as best I can. Obviously, the volume of emails coming into our offices is quite large. So if you sent me an email and you haven't heard back from me, I will try to get to your email as soon as possible. It might be a day or two. We've called on those who are in East Hampton to stay home to reduce the spread of coronavirus. We've called upon those relocating to East Hampton from New York City or elsewhere to self-quarantine for 14 days. We've coordinated planning regarding meetings of appointed boards, ZBA, ARB, and Planning Board, daily review of policies and advisories, including the CDC, State Health, County Health, Federal Coronavirus Task Force, Governor Cuomo, and the County Executive, Steve Bellone. I've had daily conference calls with the County Executive, Steve Bellone, and County Health Commissioner, Dr. Greg Piggott, Suffolk mayors and Suffolk supervisors, weekly conference calls and regular calls with the East End Mayors and Supervisors Association of Suffolk County, and to discuss regional issues and questions, coordination of policies regarding protecting public health, the town administration, and including regulations and uses of town facilities, etc. We've advocated for East End and East Hampton needs on calls to the regional offices, such as the East End COVID testing site. Currently, the closest site is now in Riverhead, which is a vast improvement from Stony Brook, but as more tests become available, we hope to get testing even closer to home here. We've monitored and implemented the governor's executive orders as they were issued and revised, issued requests for clarification and guidance as necessary to address situations particular to East Hampton. I petitioned the governor and successfully had a reversal of designation of all construction as essential business. As business as usual continuing in East Hampton showed alarming possibilities to transmit the virus and raised widespread concern. Conducted preliminary analysis to potential auxiliary hospital sites in East Hampton Town should the state health department seek a location within the town. Currently, that's not really a need. We remain in constant contact with Stony Brook University Hospital and the Vice President of Community and Government Relations, Robert Ross, who I spoke to yesterday regarding hospital beds, ICU units, the expansion of which has continued at Southampton, and they are under capacity at this time, and we hope to keep that the case. So again, we remind you to please do everything you can to stay healthy and not spread this disease. We've closed town playgrounds and recreational facilities for group activities, removed basketball and tennis court nets, closed public restrooms. We've posted signs at beaches on required social distancing. The signs are posted at Indian Wells, Atlantic Avenue, South Edison, Ditch East, Ditch Otis Road, Sam East Beach, Nab Peak Lane, Maidstone Park, Girard Drive, Beach Lane, Springs Park, Northwest Landing Road, Eddie Ecker Park, and Navy Road Beach. We've coordinated enforcement and monitoring with the police department, ordnance, Marine Patrol to enforce social distancing in public places while still allowing individuals and families to use outdoor areas for recreation. This is an important component. As many of us have been cooped up in our houses for 30 days, it's important to maybe get a little social distancing from those you live with every once in a while too. So to get out, take a walk in the park, get a little fresh air. Again, we ask if you're out in public to wear face coverings. This is now mandatory as of Wednesday at 8 p.m. The governor's most recent order regarding essential businesses is that any member or of an employee of an essential business that has direct contact with the public must wear a face mask. There's been a lot of updates with the executive orders coming in, and so obviously we've spent a lot of time responding to those, implementing those, getting clarification on those. We've connected with the community volunteers, the Town Human Services Department, and key community organizations such as food pantries and the Child Care Center to maximize volunteer coordination. And we've been successful in soliciting a number of large donations. We've worked with the Eleanor Whitmore Early Childhood Center to provide child care for essential workers, healthcare workers, first responders, etc. We've identified and pursued sources of personal protective equipment such as masks and gloves, responded to donor offers for PPEs, resulting in significant acquisitions of supplies, and set up PPE donation sites, collection sites at East Hampton Town Hall and East Hampton Town Police Department. So if you have extra masks or gloves, you can drop those off. These will be distributed to essential workers as needed. And primarily, we're talking about people in the private sector who are working stock clerks and checkout counters in what have become really, truly essential positions. We've communicated with all of the local grocers and food retailers regarding the implementation of safety and health precautions and designated shopping hours for seniors and the immunocompromised. We were out ahead of this, and now the governor has also ordered that there be special time each morning between the hours of 6 or 8 or the first hour of operation with food retailers for seniors and for the immunocompromised. We've called on all of East Hampton to wear masks again in public, and we've assessed and engaged ongoing discussions regarding tax roll preparation deadlines and tax collection. There has been some ongoing talk about putting off the tax due date for collections for property taxes. As of now, that remains still May 31st. There may be some additional guidance and perhaps forgiveness for hardship cases of penalties and interest, but that is ongoing. And, we're planning also how to restart the economy once we get through the health crisis. So along with Chief Sarlo and the Emergency Preparedness Coordinator, Bruce Bates, our dedicated town staff and my fellow town board members, I will continue to work to immediately respond to the constantly changing situations we are currently facing and continue diligence and cooperation our entire community can stay home and socially distance. And we hope to see the number of COVID cases decrease. At this point, they're starting to plateau. We hope that that trend continues and then starts to decrease, and we can get to the point where we can restart our economy, return to a normal way of life.